Welcome to Menon Thoughts, a place of mentoring, reflection, and growth through life and technology. Our new video that we're uploading today, this is about choosing the right tech stack for your career, right? This is targeted towards young software engineers who are starting off their career in the industry. Choosing the right tech stack can feel overwhelming these days. Back when I started my career, it was not that complicated. There were only two, three technologies that were there, and probably one role, a developer role, right? You had technologies which were restricted to COBOL and Clippers and all that stuff, but you were primarily a developer or a QA engineer, or the roles were well defined at that time. But these days, picking a tech stack can be pretty overwhelming for youngsters. Either when you are starting out in your career or when you're pivoting your career, right? After a couple of years when you're trying to pivot it. With the experience that I had in the software industry, I have seen trends come and go. But what has been consistently been there is mistakes that people do in picking up the tech stack, including me. I have also picked up tech stacks wrong in a lot of places, in lot of projects that I had worked on. So in this video, we are breaking down how to approach tech stack decisions with clarity and purpose. So let's start with why this confusion really happens, right? If we know why the confusion happens, that solves 50% of the work, right? You have crossed the bridge halfway. So the primary problem, according to me, my opinion on this is like there are too many options for the roles that people play nowadays, right? I mean, compared to what it was in the past. Nowadays, you have front end, back end, cloud, DevOps, AI, uh, data analytics, you name it. There are so many trends, so many roles, so many patterns or work designs that you have that people get confused very easily. Some people start saying that they want to be a front end developer, and then they halfway through they say they want to become back end developer, but then they go back and say I want to become mobile developer. Then they go back and say I want to become a cloud architect. Some people say DevOps. Some say AI. These days it's a trending thing, right? AI for everything and everywhere. So this tends to create confusion in the youngsters because one, from when they come out of the college, they are not coming out with this knowledge. They go in, they apply. Some of them get hired as interns working on probably maintenance projects in bigger companies like say Infosys and USDs and all those things. Uh, but they're not able to focus on what tech stack they should be picking up. I know a lot of interns who went into bigger organizations and end up as testers, but they probably are not. They're not people who want to do testing. A lot of them who get sucked up or stuck in maintenance projects which are running in a bigger organization. So it becomes difficult for them to pick up because that's the way bigger organizations operate. They have got a bottom line to hit, right? So then the other thing is this internet, including YouTube, including Facebooks and LinkedIn's and others, where social media hype, it flashes tools over fundamentals, right? I mean, so if you go in today's search in YouTube, for example, you will see people saying you have to do AI, you have to do this, you have to do that, blah, 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 this course, that course. Same happens in Facebook, same happens in LinkedIn. So the youngsters who are coming out of college, software engineers, they're still kids. They're coming out with a lot of expectation in the industry, and the way information is consumed these days is changed. It's all driven by social media. So they do get pulled into that, and then probably they get confused with the factor saying that popular tools are the right tools for their goal, right? It's not based upon the factor that tools are not the goals, right? Outcomes are. That is the primary thing that people have to figure out. Learning a tool is not the goal, right? Outcome from that tool is the goal. That's what people are not focusing on these days. Like I said in my upskill video, you should probably start your definition of what tech stack you want to pick up on is with the factor saying that what domain are you aiming for, right? Now this is not about the upskill, this is about starting your career with that, right? I mean, so you define a goal on the domain side, for example, saying that do you want to get into web, do you want to get into mobile development, do you want to get into enterprise development, do you want to get into SaaS, do you want to get into gaming, do you want to get into AI, cloud, embedded programming. That is the first thing that you have to start thinking of, right? And then the next step probably you should start thinking about is what kind of companies do you want to work at or build for, right? Do you want to work for a company like, say, Apple? Probably it is enterprise level, SaaS level stuff that you want to look at. Do you want to work with a company like Infosys? Probably there more and more of things would be at enterprise and web level. Do you want to work with a company like, say, UST Technologies, or say a small startup? If you're looking for a startup, then the game opens up wide. You can pick up any startup which is doing any of the above technologies that I talked about. So that is that's the next thing that you have to figure out. And then look at what stacks work there best, right, in those organizations. Example, if you're looking for an organization, say, which is trying to build a e-commerce platform with an AI at the back end, could be a startup, then you probably have to look at web and AI technologies, possibly mobile. Or if you're working with you're trying to target a company which is a startup where they say mobile first for everything, then you probably have to start with the factor saying that not mobile, you have to start looking at web-based applications which can work on mobile, which can work as a PWA, progressive web apps, which can lead you to be becoming a mobile developer with React Native or something of that sort. Study their job postings, right? Um, Look at what sort of JDs they are putting out, right? Look for some open source projects based on that. I said this in my upskilling video too, but open source projects give you a lot of insight. Look at case studies if you can, right? Case studies of startups which are there around in the industry who have become successful. What is your current skill set, right? You must have come out of your college, or you must have been working for the last 2-3 years. You must have figured out what your skill set is. If not, try to figure out that and then see how deep and strong you are in that. If you believe you are good at a particular skill set, say on JavaScripting, for example, right? Then probably you should start looking at picking and looking at React and Angular, because those are used in a lot of application development, right? Um, and then, I mean, build around that strength and then start building your tech stack and then target those areas. For example, like, and if you want to build a SaaS product, right? You should probably learn React or Angular. React is used by normally a lot of people across, right? Small scale, mid scale software development companies use React. But when it goes to enterprise level, it is Angular. Bigger organizations prefer Angular. Uh, .NET, Node as the backend. If you want to become a full stack developer, then probably you have to pick up React and Node, for example. If you are looking for a company which is a decent sized software development company. But if you're looking for something like enterprise, a software company which is handling enterprise level applications, then probably look at Angular and .NET and Java at the backend. If you're looking at cloud infrastructures, look at AWS, uh, AWS and Azure. People would say GCP also, but I would say 90% of the organizations either use Azure or AWS. GCP is good, but it has not got traction as much as AWS and Azure has got, right? So same way, if you are going into let's say mobile development, then probably you have to look at React Native, you probably have to look at Flutter, you have to look at a couple of other options, see what you want to pick up, right? But key factor being domain. So there are three key factors. One is the domain, one is the type of company you want to work with, and third is basically finding out your key strengths. Are you a good front-end developer? Are you a UX UI developer? Or are you strong at business logic? If you're strong at business logic, you should probably look at the back-end development. If you're good at the front-end side, where you are good with probably HTML, you're good with JavaScripting and all those things, so you should look at the front end. But if you are more on the database side, the structuring, if your structuring is good, if you structuring as in logical structuring is good, you can envision data in a bigger map. Then you should probably look at career as a database administrator and stuff like that. If you are interested in cloud, which is basically deployments, if DevOps intrigues you, then probably you should look at AWS, Azure, take certifications in AWS, take certifications in Azure, and try to get in through that path, right? But if you are, there is another line which is called PaaS, which is basically product as a service. If you want to be in that line where it is low code or no code platforms, should probably look at getting certification on Salesforce side, or SAP or something of that sort, right? I mean, so if you are not inclined towards development, more inclined towards giving solutions, you can probably look at that as a solution, right? So yeah, that's my take. That is my take on this, right? So yeah, so 3 points again. I will repeat the 3 points: domain, the organization, target organization that you want to get into, target organization domain that you want to get into, what are your strengths? Based on that, pick your stack and then move forward with that. So we talked about where the confusion starts from. We talked about how to choose, right? But we didn't talk about what basic mistakes people do, right? And how we can rectify those, right? I mean, this is the final part, right? So, uh, chasing the trend tech, trending tech without understanding its real world usage is one of the things that people probably do. They see it, as I said, in social media or wherever, and then they start chasing it, ignoring the ecosystem. Uh, so when you're looking at a particular trending tech, look at for that particular requirement or that particular domain, can it scale? Is there enough support for that? Is it stable? Right? I mean, I'll give you a small example, right? I mean, so as an example, say Angular, you pick up Angular for whatever reason. Um, Angular okay for a enterprise level application, right? That's what I mentioned in the beginning. So think of an example where you pick Angular for a website because somebody said Angular you can make websites quickly. You don't require it, right? For a simple website which doesn't have too much of interaction at the back and forth, you don't need Angular, right? Um, Sometimes people just go with Java because they think Java is the best, right? But the problem with Java is like for even picking a small nail, like this is something that we used to talk about when I used to code in Java long time back. Even to pick a nail, you have to get a bulldozer, whereas you can do it with a hammer, right? So the real thing that you want to figure out is what and where you want to use it, and how you want to use it. So, like for example, uh, another thing that I had seen is like learning too many things and not mastering a single thing, right? I mean, I had seen people who have worked on, they said, I've worked on Angular, I have worked on React, I have worked on React Native, I have worked on Flutter. That's all good. Those are tools, right? But they are not goals. At the end of it, are you a good front end developer? Are you a good back end developer? Are you a full stack developer? Are you a cloud engineer? That's the focus that you need to bring in, right? Or you could be all also. But for that, you need to be like mastering one and then going into the next one. It's like that karate thing, right? Where you complete one belt and go to the next belt, right? So that's how you should probably look at. And couple of other things is like career goals. People don't probably look at it as a career goal and then start off. People in the front end sometimes go and start studying ML just because somebody told them ML is better. It's the same thing I told in the upskill side also, right? So yeah, avoid those mistakes. Look at the upskill video also that I had put across, which gives you an idea of how to go about in the domain. And one more thing that I would probably ask, or I would suggest to youngsters is follow industry experts on different communities, um, in YouTube, in social media. That is okay, right? But you also have to think critically, right? What the other person is saying, does it make sense for me as a person, right? That is the next thing that you probably have to look at. And one basic thing that I would say is, again, like what I said in the upskill video, is build a project and understand it. And then when you code the program, I mean, you code the stuff, you get more experience. Your understanding has to come from experience, not from videos and bookish knowledges, right? And when you do that, also every year, I do it every 6 months. Revisit your stack choice every year or every half yearly based on your evolving goals, right? So what I mean by that is you might start off as a front-end developer. You might have mastered it, might not have mastered it. You might be thinking it is not for me. and you probably want to move on to the next one, which is basically the backend. If you mastered it, you want to probably go to the backend, right? So then you start evaluating the goal, revisit your tech stack, narrow your focus towards that, right? So first year, let's say you narrow your focus and say, I want to learn React because I want to become a good front-end developer. You have achieved it in 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, 3 years probably. Then you start looking at, okay, I want to become a back-end developer, right? Or it could be like you want to become a full stack developer, then you pick the right combination, right? After you do that, let's say you want to get into AI, which is trending now, learn the tech stack, try to pivot, go into that tech stack, leave the front end and back end work behind, pivot to that, and then start looking at it from that angle, right? Uh, use GitHub, Stack Overflow, tech radar tools to see what is emerging technologies, especially on front end side, Stack Overflow and all. You'll get a lot of inputs from people who are already using the same technology, and you could probably be able to learn more or reuse a lot of their code, right? So yeah, that's what I would say, right? So yeah, happy learning, right? So as a closing note, I spoke so much about what you guys should be doing, right? And what and how you should be picking up your tech stack. Uh, my personal journey, I started my career as like, as I mentioned a couple of times in the previous videos, as a Clipper DB4 developer. Then I moved on to COBOL, then to .NET, then to Java, then evolved with Angular, React, now um, cloud, and then beyond. Now I'm actually working on AI stuff with a couple of clients. I kept switching between .NET and Java based upon the technology stack and based upon the requirement of the domain. I also learned how to do DevOps using using AWS and Azure, right? But I had always focused on what problem I want to solve. That has been the key, and not what was trending in the market, because that doesn't help you, right? So I didn't pick up AI till I had a project. AI has been there for almost 1.5 years, 2 years now. I didn't pick up AI and ML till I had a project which I had to give a solution where I had to use Python and I had to use some AI concepts, right? So even now, as I said, I adapt, but with purpose. So there are two projects which we are working on right now, two, three projects that I'm working on right now. One is with AI, and in between, I started working as a PaaS developer. So I picked up Salesforce, right? And I'm working on Salesforce as an architect also, right? So that's how my personal journey has been, right? Thanks for watching Menon Thoughts. Stay tuned for more mentoring, reflection, and inspirational videos like these. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Um, and let me know in the comments what tech stacks you guys are working on or confused about. Probably I can try giving my opinion, not advice, opinion on all those. If at all you guys want to, right? God bless.